Hi again. I feel over the past few weeks we've become friends. So I thought I'd take you today to a place that I would only take my good friends. This here is Doon. This is a place I would come to with all my teenage angst. This is a place I would come to as a young Christian when there was things bothering me and troubling me. Because in this place, even when perhaps it felt like the world was falling apart, everything just seemed to be okay. In the distance behind me, you'll see the outer aisles. You'll see the parts of the Uists and also of Harris. As you pan round, you come to see Wateridge Head, and you see the coral beaches, which in a clearer day just look so beautiful and white. And then as you go a bit further, you come to the Dunvegan Castle and to the village of Dunvegan, which I showed you last week. And then you come to what is the greatest landmark probably in the Isle of Skye, the Cuillins. And then of course MacLeod's tables with their flat top. But I've taken you here not just to show you such majestic views. I've come here so that we could read something together, that we could read a psalm together. Because when I think of this place, I think not just of what I see, I think of what I feel, and I think of what I hear. This is a spot that's rather exposed to the weather, and sometimes you feel the full force of the wind. And it's also a place where you hear the waves crashing in the shore just below the Doon here and against the rocks. The psalm I want to read is Psalm 29, because it creates that same kind of picture where you feel the full force of the elements and you hear the thundering sound of the waters. And it's a psalm that I not only associate with this place, but a psalm that I now describe as my coronavirus psalm. Let's read it together. Ascribe to the Lord, O mighty ones. Ascribe to the Lord glory and strength. Ascribe to the Lord the glory due to his name. Worship the Lord in the splendour of his holiness. The voice of the Lord is over the waters. The God of glory thunders. The Lord thunders over the mighty waters, and the voice of the Lord is powerful. The voice of the Lord is majestic. The voice of the Lord breaks the cedars. The Lord breaks in pieces the cedars of Lebanon. He makes Lebanon skip like a calf, Syrian like a young wild ox. The voice of the Lord, it strikes with flashes of lightning. The voice of the Lord shakes the desert. The Lord shakes the desert of Kadesh. The voice of the Lord twists the oaks and strips the forest bare, and in his temple all cry, Glory. The Lord sits enthroned over the flood. The Lord is enthroned as King forever. The Lord gives strength to his people. The Lord blesses his people with peace. Why do I call it my coronavirus psalm? Well, because it reminds me of three really important things just now. The first is that God is sovereign. The Lord sits enthroned over the flood. The Lord is enthroned as King forever. And we have reminded ourselves of that a few times of late. That even in the midst of all that's going on, that God is still in absolute control of absolutely everything. He is enthroned over the waters. And the fact that he's a good and wise God, a loving God, that gives to us such comfort. The psalm also reminds us that God gives strength. The Lord gives strength to his people. The Lord blesses his people with peace. Even coming up to the Doon here, as I climbed up to the top, I was thinking of God being our refuge and a strength, of being our rock and our fortress, the one who gives us strength and gives to us sanctuary, the God who blesses us, his people, with peace. And I pray that you have known something of that strength and peace over these past months. But there's one other thing that this psalm reminds us of, Not just that God is sovereign, not just that God gives strength, but that God speaks. The voice of the Lord is over the waters. The voice of the Lord is powerful. The voice of the Lord is majestic. To quote Francis Schaeffer, God, He is there, and He is not silent. And He is not silent in the circumstances in which we find ourselves now. He does speak to us in His Word, but He speaks to us in the circumstances too. And I have found this time to be difficult, but a time when I hear God speaking, and I listen to God teaching me some really important things. Things about Himself and things about myself. I believe as He speaks to me, He's made me reassess a number of things. My priorities in life. He's made me reassess the value of relationships. Relationships with other people and relationships with His people, and especially valuing anew the beauty of worshipping together and praying together. Things that I don't think I'll ever take for granted again. He has made me confront things in my life that perhaps have been uncomfortable. Maybe making me think about where my faith and trust was really lying. He's made me think about the idols of my heart and the priorities in my life. These things are important as we listen to God speak and as we listen to Him teach us in these circumstances. I pray that you too during this time will take great comfort from knowing that God is sovereign, that God gives strength, but also that you'll listen to God as He speaks and as He teaches you things about yourself and things about Himself. The voice of the Lord is upon these waters, and His voice is powerful and majestic. And like Samuel, who we mentioned last week, we have to learn to say, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." Take care, God bless, and we'll speak again soon.